Hello everyone. Today let us look at the detailed preparation strategy for CAPF AC paper 1, and this preparation strategy is presented to you by myself, Mr. Manikandan.R, Ex.AC BSF. So moving on with the exam overview for paper 1. So it will be conducted by UPSC for the recruitment of assistant commandants in various central armed police forces like BSF, ITBP, CRPF, SSB and CASF, and it will be an objective type of examination. The paper 1 will be an objective type of examination with 125 questions and 250 marks. Duration of the exam will be for 2 hours with one third negative marking for each wrong option. The paper will be covering general ability and intelligence, including static subjects as well as current affairs and general aptitude. So it will be a qualifying paper for your paper 2, and which in turn will be an qualifier for paper physical test as well as interview. Moving on with the subject wise weightage analysis. First of all, you should know what are the different subject wise weightage of each and every paper. So generally for CAPF examinations, this general science holds more weightage, covering subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, environment and environmental science and computer science also. In recent years there are questions being asked from computer science also. So all these are included under this general science, and there will be a maximum of 25 to 30 questions with some plus or minus 5 to 10 questions, because even in 2025 there were 40 questions covering all these areas: physics, chemistry, environmental science, biology and computer science. And there will be current affairs of national and international importance, which will be around some 12 to 15 questions on an average every year. And polity and economy both combined will have approximately 25 to 30 questions covering this constitution, governance, economics, the basics of economics, including the recent budget and the economic survey. And history part will cover ancient, medieval, modern India as well as the art and culture part. Mostly this art and culture will be a area of major focus under this ancient and medieval parts. Moving on with the geography. So in history also there will be an approximate there will be 15 to 20 questions on an average. Moving on with the geography, which will be covering both Indian geography as well as world geography. The number of questions that we can expect on an average is again some 12 to 15 questions on an average across different years. And general mental ability will include logical reasoning, quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, everything. So it again will include some 12 to 15 questions, but there are some exceptions because in 2024 they have asked around some 20 questions from this particular area itself, right? So this is the different subject weightage. So if you want to prioritize your preparation strategy, then this general science can be your first priority, followed by that polity and economy can be your second priority, given they are easy to cover, and third can be geography, fourth one can be current affairs, fifth one can be general and general mental ability, and finally you can go with history, given the unpredictable nature of questions and the vast syllabus. Because even if we cover so many sources, then there is no guarantee that we will be able to attain maximum number of questions from the history part. So I would personally recommend history as the last priority, but depending upon your personal interest and the sources that you might be following, you can go for your own order of preparation. Overlap with civil services examinations. Since the civil services prelims is also about to be held in May month, and candidates will be very much busy with the civil services prelims preparations, they can have some idea on the overlap of syllabus between this civil services as well as CAPF examination. So the general studies generally overlaps between both the papers, including polity, history, geography, economy, etc. The only additional part with CAPF will be general science, that too focusing on this basic science like physics, biology, etc. That would be an additional part. And one more thing is the aptitude part will be covered in paper 1 itself, whereas in civil services the aptitude would be a separate qualifying paper. So that is the only difference, but there is a strong overlap in other general studies subjects. Okay, and the sources are also going to be one and the same, like the NCRTs and other standard reference books, and current affairs is almost going to be the same sources. But so there is more weightage, as we have already seen, there is more weightage for science, and this aptitude is already included in this paper 1 compared to CSE, which is a different case there. So the major sources for all these subjects are, first of all, we have to prioritize NCRT textbooks for almost all the subjects, and this is particularly very much important so for this science, where you should cover from classes 6 to 12 for a better conceptual clarity. And this NCRT textbooks are more authentic when it comes to this CAPF as well as civil services examinations, and other standard books that everyone will be referring, like Indian Polity by Lakshmikant, and then Ramesh Singh for Indian economy, themes in Indian history for history, along with old NCRT books, and then this art and culture based introduction to Indian art 1 and 2 from 11th and 12th standard. So you can refer books like this. And then for geography, the 11th and 12th books are very much important. For civil services, the 12th book wouldn't be that much necessary, that is fundamentals of human geography wouldn't be that much necessary. But for CAPF, even this 12th geography is going to be very important, because there are direct and straightforward questions that have been asked in CAPF. So as such, you have to prioritize both 11th and 12th NCRTs for geography. Along with that, the standard reference source would be this GC Leong book, which is a very important reference book. Beyond this NCRT, economy, you have to refer to the latest budget. In 2025 CAPF, there were close to 4 questions primarily focused on budget and economic surveys alone. So you have to focus on this budget and economic survey. And other, for other economic economics basics, you can refer to Ramesh Singh. So these are some of the core sources that you should prioritize. And the PYQ analysis, the importance of PYQ analysis, which is very important, right? Only when you understand the nature of the questions that are being asked by UPSC and the area that they are focusing frequently, then you will be having a better clarity on what areas to prepare, how much to prepare, and from where to prepare. You will have ideas on all these aspects only when you go through this PYQ. So PYQ analysis is very important, and to help you assist with this PYQ analysis, we have our spotlight initiative that is going on, where we try to decode the important sources as per different standards, right? And as per different chapter and what is the particular topic, we identify the sources, and we also highlight the similar questions across different other examinations like civil services, CDS NDA examinations, or Indian Economic Service, and then geoscientists. We try to identify the lead from other similar examinations that are held in the same year before this CAPF examination. For example, in 2024, we had 2 current affairs questions on Ukraine bordering countries, and there was one more question on G20. So both questions have been asked already in the civil services 2023 attempt. So we try to identify such leads. Okay, so this Russia Ukraine war was going on, and as such they have asked questions of Russia Ukraine bordering countries in civil services. And this India held this G20 summit in 2023. So based out of that, there was a question in civil services, and similarly one more question in CAPF AC also. So we try to identify all such sources from where we can expect the questions. Like if you wish, you can enroll for our spotlight initiative also, and we will come up with a detailed video, separate video for our spotlight, where we will be elaborating more on this. You can go through that video, and you can decide for yourself for enrolling with this particular program. And the importance of this PYQ is that it will help you understand the evolving nature of the questions pattern and the difficulty level of the questions, and you will be able to identify the important topics from where the questions are being constantly asked, like on a repetitive basis, from which are the particular topics where the questions are being asked very repeatedly. and you will be able to identify some of the elimination techniques very much objectively in a calm and composed way here, so that you will be able to utilize these learnings in your final examination on July 19th, 2026. And you should analyze at least the last 10 years exam paper thoroughly, and or bare minimum you should analyze this last 5 years examination, so as to be in line with the latest developments of this exam pattern and the difficulty level. Moving on with the significance of current affairs and how to prepare for this current affairs. So you should focus on at least 12 to 18 months of the current events before the examination, because we are able to see that in 2024 the questions were from 18 months time period, right? There were questions from this March 2023 event, and then there were one or two questions from this February 2023 event also, right? So as such, in 2024 there were around 14 questions from 2023 itself, right? And there were more questions from February, March, May, etc. So as such, you have to be thorough with at least 12 to 18 months of current events immediately before this examination. So if you will be enrolling for our spotlight initiative, we will be covering these current affairs also from multiple sources like PIB, the Hindu, Indian Express, down to earth, etc. We will be covering all these sources, and we will be having classes, plus we will be providing you with the notes for last minute revisions. So this will also be included in our spotlight initiative. So you can simply follow our current affairs classes and notes from across so many sources that we will be compiling for the last 12 to 18 months time period. So if you are focusing on current affairs, you have to focus more on this defense exercise, internal security based issues like the major operations being undertaken against this Naxalism, Kashmir militancy, etc. And you should also try to focus on international relations and the important places in news, important appointments, important days and themes. Like these are some of the prominent things from where we can expect questions repeatedly in CAPF paper 1 examination, and try to cover all the major government schemes that are launched in the recent 12 to 18 months time period, and also be thorough with the major reports and survey findings. These are all some of the important themes that we have to cover from for this current affairs. All this we are doing in the current affairs classes and notes as a part of our spotlight initiative. Try to have compilations like your own compilations and PIB summaries, and try to revise it as frequently as possible. Only with repeated revisions you will be able to recollect effectively, and you will be able to answer better. And current affairs is one very important area where you can score more marks. Okay, even if there are some 15 questions, you should try to score at least some 10 to 12, and that is easily scoreable. So current affairs is one very important part which you must try to score well. So the importance of mock test and revisions framework, you should definitely practice mock test after completing each and every subject. Okay, so without mock test, whatever content you might be accumulating, that is going to be of very little help when you don't practice the mock test after each and every subject. You should go for at least some 25 to 30 mock test, at least 25 to 30 mock test. Analyze your mistakes and track the weak areas. So the mock tests are very important, and try to revise frequently. Like the revisions can be planned accordingly. There can be one daily revision. Whatever you might be reading on a particular day, you can revise it before you go for your sleeping, and then there can be a weekly revisions. Like you can take this Sunday as week off, where you can simply go for revising whatever you have read throughout the week, and there can be some periodic revisions like before the test that you might be practicing, right? So try to revise as frequently as possible, right? And prioritize accuracy, right? So try to be very careful while you are attempting the questions, since there are negative markings involved here. So you have to be very careful and focus on this accuracy rather than going for quantity. That is simply trying to attempt more questions. You should be more accurate. Even if the questions number of questions you are attempting is going to be minimal, the accuracy should be high so as to score better here. So this mock tests and revisions are very very important beyond whatever you might be preparing. And the preparation roadmap starting from March to July 19. The exam has been planned on July 19, 2026, and we are, as of now, we are in the month of March. So there are 4 months approximately. I'm leaving out this July because July has to be only for complete revisions and followed by test practices only. So I am leaving out this July for our reserving July for revisions and test practices, and as such we can devise a 4 month study planner, right? In the month one, you have to complete all the NCRTs and the standard books. That should be your primary goal. So to do this, you have to spend at least a bare minimum of 8 to 10 hours, right? If you are an experienced candidate, if you are a fresher, then you have to increase at least 12 to 14 hours should be your study planner, right? And in books. So in the month 2, you can consolidate the advanced topics and sectional test. You can practice for sectional test because sometimes questions are beyond this NCRT and standard book. So you can try to cover those topics from based on our analysis from the PYQs. So in month 3, it should be intensive mock practice plus PYQ revisions, and in the final month go for multiple revisions and current affairs recap, right? By the month of June, you should try to go for multiple revisions and current affairs recap. So maintain a disciplined daily study schedule, and it should also be balanced with your paper 2 preparation. In the upcoming days, we will come up with a preparation strategy for paper 2 also. So try to balance both paper 1 as well as paper 2, because paper 1 is becoming more tougher in recent years, right? And the maximum mark that is being scored by the candidates are reducing drastically over the past 3 years time period. Like in 2022 it was very easy and the candidates have scored around 170 plus, but that is not the case in recent years like 2023, 2024, and 2025. So paper 1 is becoming more challenging, and as such paper 2 becomes one of their advantage if you practice sufficiently well. Okay, so try to approach both paper 1 and paper 2 preparation in a balanced way. Soon we will have this paper 2 preparation strategy also. And for paper 1, your target score should be to score at least 135 plus, irrespective of the standard of the questions, like a difficulty of the question. Your target should be to score at least 135 plus to 140 plus, right? And finally, try to limit your sources. Don't run behind n number of sources. Whatever you might be seeing in the market, don't run behind all the sources. Try to restrict your sources, and those sources should be NCRT primarily, NCRT and other standard books primarily, and then you can go for other sources like institute compilations. And then focus on conceptual clarity rather than rote memorization. That is not going to help you much here. You have to be conceptually strong with each and every subject, particularly so for subjects like geography, economy, etc. And maintain physical fitness alongside your preparation. As I have said before, like you have to balance paper 1, paper 2 preparation, and alongside you have to focus on your physical fitness also, because once the paper 1 and paper 2 results come, there is a very short time window for our this physical, so within which time it might be hard for us to get used to the fitness metrics that will be expected during the physical efficiency test. So try to give some minimal amount of time on a daily basis for your fitness metric also, and ensure weekly targets and structured revisions, and consistency plus accuracy is should be your target. Thank you. Happy preparation.